This video will demonstrate how to control headings in bibliographic records in WorldShare Record Manager. Controlling headings links names, series, and subject headings in bibliographic records to matching authority records if they exist. One advantage of doing this is that if the authority record changes, the linked heading in the WorldCat bibliographic record is updated automatically. You should use control headings when you're doing original cataloging and when editing existing WorldCat records if you edit or add headings, or if you come across a WorldCat record in which the headings are not controlled. Note that to retain the control, you need to replace the WorldCat record after controlling the headings. In Record Manager, you'll find Replace on the Save menu. Control headings is available for name headings from the Library of Congress authority file, subjects from the Library of Congress subject headings, genre headings from Library of Congress genre and forms terms, and series headings from the LC authority file. So here's an example taken from a record with uncontrolled headings. In this example, there are two Library of Congress subject headings in 650 second indicator 0 fields, and there are two added entries for personal names in 700 fields for names of the editors. So let's take a look at how to control these headings using Record Manager. So I have the bibliographic record here on my screen now, and I'm going to scroll down to view the subject headings. So I have two 650s, music, subfield X mathematics, and then another 650 for musical theory. I also have two 700s for Mariana Montiel and Francisco Gomez. And if I go back up a little, I can see these names appear in the 245 statement of responsibility, and they are in fact editors. To control the headings, I'll go to the record menu at the top, and I'm going to select Control All Headings. A confirmation message appears at the top now saying some of the controlled headings matched cross-references, some of the controllable headings were controlled, and some of the controllable headings were not controlled. So I'm going to scroll back down to view my headings now. I can see music, mathematics has been controlled, and if I click on it, we open the authority record, and you can see the 150 for music subfield X mathematics. And I'll close the authority record. The second subject heading has been changed. Originally, I had this as musical theory in my bibliographic record. It's now controlled to music theory. So I'm going to click on the heading, and I can in fact see that the 150, which is the authorized form of the heading, is in fact music theory, but I can see also a 450 for the heading I had in my bibliographic record for musical theory. The heading as it was in the bib record, musical theory, matched the cross-reference in the authority record. This means that the heading I had in the record appears in a 450 field in the authority record. This is not a valid form of the heading, but in controlling the heading, the system was able to use this cross-reference, also called a C reference, to flip the heading in the bib record to the correct form, music theory, that appears in the 150 in the authority record. And at the same time, it has controlled the heading or linked the heading in the bib record to the authority record. I can also see the name Francisco Gomez with a birth date of 1965 was also controlled to its authority record. I'll click the name so we can see the authority record. And you can see that the name appears in the authority record in the 100 field just as it appeared on my bib record. The other name, Mariana Montiel, was not controlled when I used Control All. This is because it is an unqualified personal name, meaning that it has only a subfield A. There is no subfield D with dates and no subfield Q with a fuller form of the name. But this doesn't necessarily mean that there's not an authority record for this name. For an unqualified personal name, you just need to view the authority record, if there is one, and confirm that it's the correct record before it is linked to the name in the bib record. So if I right-click, and then I'll select Controlled Heading, and I'll click Add to begin linking this heading. And a list of possible matches will display in the Control Headings window. In this case, there's only one. And if I click the heading, I can see the full authority record. And I'll scroll down. I need to review the authority record to determine if this is the same person. By looking at the source data note in the 670 field, I can see that the person cited in the authority record writes on the same topic as the work in my record. So this is most likely the same person. So I'll click Close, and then I'll click on Insert Heading. And now you can see that the name has in fact been controlled. And if I click it now, it will again open up the authority record. Now that I've controlled the names, I can also add a relator term to designate their role as editors. I'll click the arrow next to the tag to expand the field for the first 700. And then in the subfield dropdown, I'll select Relator Term, subfield E. And then for the value, I'm going to select Editor, or I can just type Editor in here and select it when it appears. And then I'll click Done to save that. And then I'll do the same thing for the second name. I'll click the arrow next to the name. For the subfield, I'll select Relator Term, subfield E. And for value, we're going to enter Editor. And we'll select Done to save it. Now let's say I want to add a subdivision, subfield X, mathematics, to my second subject heading, music theory. To edit a controlled heading, you'll first need to uncontrol the heading. So I'll click the text box for the heading, music theory, and then I'm going to right click, and then I'll select controlled heading, remove. And now I can just simply type in the subheading, subfield X, mathematics. And then I'll control the heading again. So I'll right click, controlled heading, and select add. And the heading is now again controlled. To retain the controlled headings in the WorldCat record, I need to go to the Save menu and select Replace Bibliographic Record. By doing that, if any of the headings in the authority records ever change, for example, if the subject headings change, or if dates are added to a name heading, the controlled headings in the bibliographic record will change automatically. So to review, here you can see the headings as they were in the bibliographic record originally, and then after I controlled the headings and with the addition of the relator terms that I added to the names. In addition to LC names and subjects, you can also control headings for other authority files. The procedures are a little different for each of these. So to get help in searching and controlling headings for these, go to the online help for Record Manager at help.oclc.org and then select Metadata Services, WorldShare Record Manager, Authority Records. For some libraries that may want headings from more than one authority file, there is an option to add equivalent subject headings for the controlled headings in a bibliographic record if the record contains controlled RVM, AAT, LCSH, or MESH headings. So if a bibliographic record contains controlled RVM headings, the system searches for the equivalent headings found in AAT, LCSH, or MESH. If a bibliographic record contains controlled AAT, LCSH, or MESH headings, the system searches for equivalent subject headings found in RVM. If equivalent subject headings are found, they are inserted into the bibliographic record and they are controlled to their respective authority file. So since my record now has controlled Library of Congress subject headings, my two 650s, second indicator of 0, let's say I want to add the RVM equivalent headings to my record. So I'll go to the record menu and then I'll select Add Equivalent Subject Headings. And the system confirms it has added equivalent subject headings to the bibliographic record. And I'm going to scroll down to see the additional headings that have been added. And now I can see there are two 650s with second indicators of 6, which are the RVM subject headings or French subject headings. In addition to adding the headings, they are also automatically controlled or linked to their respective authority records. Note that there's an option to set adding equivalent subject headings as a default action in the user preferences if this is something that you would use all of the time. If you have questions or need additional help, please go to help.oclc.org for documentation, training, and contact information for OCLC support in your region.